Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending this presentation. My name is Alex Chang, Program Director at Blue Door Support Services. My pronouns are he and him. I am joined here today by Francesca Lofreda, our peer mentor at our Inclusion 2SLGBTQ+ Transitional Housing Program.
Hi, everyone. I'm Francesca, and my pronouns are they, them.
We want to first start by acknowledging the land that Blue Door is situated in. We are on the traditional territories of the Wendat, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe peoples, whose presence here continues to this day. We would also like to acknowledge that the land that we are on is at the meeting place of two treaties, the lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit and those of the First Nations of the Williams Treaty. We would like to thank them and other Indigenous peoples for sharing this land with us. We acknowledge this land and people because recognizing the existence of Indigenous people is the first step towards reconciliation. I think a shared understanding of how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. Today, we are so excited to share with you our journey in starting the inclusion program here in York Region, which for context is situated just north of the Greater Toronto area and is mostly suburbs. We will give you a brief description of the Blue Door Support Services, then take you on a journey that led to the development of inclusion, including local research, our program model, what we've learned so far along the way, what the program looks like at this moment, maybe some anecdotes that we've had so far, and of course, what the future holds for the program. Firstly, Blue Door. Blue Door Support Services is a multi-services agency located in York Region, just north of Toronto. In 2022, this coming year, we will be celebrating our 40th year anniversary. Our core mission is to provide people who are at risk of or experiencing homelessness to attain and retain affordable housing. Through most of our history, our core service consisted of providing emergency housing services to adult males, families, and youth. In the last few years, we have expanded our scope of service to align with our new strategic plan, focusing on expanding stable housing options, the integration of healthcare into our services, and the integration of employment-focused programs and opportunities for the people that we serve. Inclusion is one such program that we have implemented in the last year to expand housing options in our community. Our journey at inclusion really starts with the stories of 2SLGBTQ+ youth in York Region and the experiences that they've had in finding safe spaces that are affirming, or traditionally speaking, really their experience in not being able to find these spaces within our community. We have 3 youth emergency housing services in our area run by great partners like 360 Kids and Salvation Army and of course Blue Door. I think over the years, we've taken notice that while up to 40% of youth experiencing homelessness nationally identified as part of the 2SLGBTQ+ community, here in York, the proportion was much smaller as measured by our region's enumeration in 2018, where only 16% of the youth that were experiencing homelessness identified as part of the 2SLGBTQ+ community. I think when we have that glimpse of the snapshot, it doesn't mean that that the proportion isn't bigger. It just means that they're not accessing the existing services that we're providing. I think 2 recent research studies done in the region with this population found that youth did not want to access shelters because of safety and prefer to either couch surf or stay in unsafe environments. Overwhelmingly, I think there is a need for population-based housing services for 2SLGBTQ+ youth. The youth are more comfortable with single occupancy spaces for both privacy and safety. And I think they also mentioned that they would like to limit the sharing of bathroom spaces or not having to share bathroom space at all with the general population, again, because of privacy and safety concerns. I think the need to act has been there and it's been demonstrated by the research and by the voices in the community. Blue Door is just fortunate that we are in a position now to have an opportunity to take some action. Now, how did we start the program? I think in late 2019, we received funding from a foundation to test and implement supportive transitional housing programs in our service area. The idea was framed around acquiring leases for housing units in the community that we would then be able to use for transitional housing for families, for senior men, and also for 2SLGBTQ plus youth. This opportunity coincided with the findings of the research from the previous slide. As such, the idea for inclusion was born. We were going to find an appropriate house with the capacity to be able to house up to 4 youth from the 2SLGBTQ plus community at risk of or experiencing homelessness. We learned a great deal from other partners and providers that have done the work in other jurisdictions. Sprout House in Toronto and Pride Home in Saskatoon were 2 such programs. We, of course, had challenges to navigate along the way. I think the most challenging one was really navigating through the pandemic and how it delayed our ability to secure a location. The other challenge was finding landlords willing to work with us in this manner. I think this is the first time that Blue Door has engaged in direct relationship with landlords. A lot of them were apprehensive to work with us after hearing that we supported people out of homelessness, not really understanding the advantages and security of working directly with a provider like Blue Door. There were 3 important factors that we considered when acquiring the place and renting the space. We needed to find a house that would be nondescript and in a safe residential neighborhood. The house needed to be near a transit line. We are in the suburbs north of Toronto with limited access to transportation. So the house that the location that we chose needed to be near one of the transit arteries so that the youth had an accessible and reliable way to access transit. It had to be in good condition, and we had to have the flexibility to be able to make minor design changes. Next, Francesca will tell us a little bit more about the inclusion program as it stands today.
So we can start off by giving you a virtual tour of the house. Before starting the program, we worked with a family member with expertise in interior design, specifically evidence-based design, to inform how the space could be set up to positively affect wellness. Our mission was not just to provide a home or a temporary space, but to build a home where the youth could thrive. Inclusion provides a safe and supportive space to youth. Participants feel free to explore their gender identity and sexual orientation without judgment, and they can live their authentic self without fear for their safety. We have seen them thrive in this environment, with the guidance from a peer mentor to support them achieve personal goals, but also from peer support within the program. To give you an example, initially, a program participant experienced strong social anxiety and was not able to take public transportation. In June, they decided to start Construct, an employment social enterprise program by Blue Door, and they needed to take 2 buses to go to their class. It happened and another youth in the program applied for the program as well, and they began to take the bus together. One day, the other program participant couldn't attend the training. So the youth and I worked on an action plan on how to navigate public transportation. The plan worked, and the participant arrived safely there and back. They both completed the 8-week program, and moreover, these youth now take the bus daily to go to work. Inclusion is helping program participants to develop a sense of community and belonging. They support and learn one another. Furthermore, our program is fostering independence, community connections, and life skills to obtain permanent independent housing. But another unique feature about inclusion is that it is pet friendly. We have 2 youth and 2 supportive dogs in the house now. When they both applied to the program, their dogs were the only family the participant had, and even if they were offered a safe place to stay, they were not willing to separate from their pets. So being able to move in with them made a big difference for the participants. Inclusion opened its doors in mid-March, and so far we have had 3 participants joining our program. At the moment, we have 2 youth in the house, and the 3rd program participant was successfully housed, rejoining her family. The youth in the house have accomplished several goals related to training, employment, and self-care. We have seen improvement in both their physical and mental health. Their social, organizational, and life skills are improving, and they are developing skills on how to share common spaces, chores, and navigate responsibilities like dog sitting for each other if needed. Additionally, they have showcased accountability and dependability within the program. However, they are both struggling with budgeting skills. One participant was able to pay off all his debt, but they both found it very difficult to create a realistic budget and to stick to it. And sometimes this leads to food insecurity. So we are providing them with workshops and financial literacy to help them develop the skills they lack in order to improve their ability to maintain housing and food security.
Thank you, Francesca. As you can tell, our efforts in the last 18 months have focused on getting the program started and implementing our program model for inclusion. I would love to say that the hardest part is behind us, but realistically, we are just getting started. We started a humble program based on the premise that providing a safe space for youth that are ready to be independent with some supports will have a positive effect in their development and provide them an opportunity to succeed. We are now looking at gathering data through a developmental evaluation framework that will hopefully provide us with quantitative elements to add to our existing narratives. We're in discussions with Dr. Alex Abramovich to undertake this evaluation, and we're really excited to see what the results will provide. I think it will involve a feedback loop that will help us make improvements in our service delivery, being informed primarily by the youth accessing inclusion. Sustainability is an important focus for us. We're hoping that with the evidence and narratives from the youth in the program, we will be able to build a case for sustainability. This would involve securing the funds to continue the program for many years to come. Ideally, it would also mean owning and operating the property, as it would provide us both with security and flexibility to continue to deliver the program and to continue to innovate as well. Although we are happy and feel secure in our current lease agreement, we are cognizant and recognize that the conditions could change at any moment. I think in summary, this presentation, we share our work in the last 20 months to take an idea to start a supportive housing program for 2SLGBTQ+ youth in the region and take it into implementation. The journey has been a long one. It hasn't just been the last 20 months. It's been the years of feedback and research that has been done in our community and community mobilization. We are happy that we are at the point now that we have created a safe and affirming space for youth in our community. Starting a program like inclusion isn't without risks. We have funding to continue leasing the property and for staffing, but sustainability, as I mentioned before, will be one of our key goals in the coming years. We hope that we can get to a place where we can own the facility and perhaps create an opportunity to expand as well. The key takeaway is that the research shows that population-specific housing for 2SLGBTQ+ youth Makes sense. And now we have the opportunity to add evidence in our local context to support it. If there's another takeaway from our humble little program, is that creating opportunities to empower independence in youth will better prepare them to navigate life into adulthood. Thank you all for attending the presentation today. We've left both of our contact information at the end of this slide. Please take a snapshot of it and feel free to contact us if you have any questions. The next slide, we're just going to acknowledge some of the funding sources that we have and the foundations that have kindly supported our cause. Thank you.